At SEI, we present the facts to whoever needs to hear them. We try not to align ourselves with any particular political parties, remaining neutral wherever possible. Personally, I work mainly with community organisations, schools and individuals, so political processes only affect my work indirectly. SEI does work with governments. For example, my colleagues in our Air Quality and Climate Change group have been supporting countries with their nationally determined contributions, their climate actions, to make them more ambitious and incorporate strategies that will improve air pollution at the same time as meeting climate targets. Working at that level is satisfying, as those agreements will hopefully outlive whichever government was in charge at that time. Sometimes our work is used for political purposes, and sometimes we're pleased with that and call it impact. Other times we'd rather it hadn't been used if the purpose doesn't align with our personal views, but we can't control what people do with it once we've done the research, so we try not to worry about it.
Generating policy impact can sometimes feel like a tightrope walk. In order for outputs to find a home in policy, they have to be aligned with a special interest or agenda within this space. If there's not an emerging or pre-existing audience within a political or regulatory domain for the knowledge that an academic is generating, significant impact becomes implausible at best and impossible at worst. However, this necessarily leads to a danger, which is the risk of partisan political involvement. If a piece of work that an academic is keen to publicise is strongly aligned with a specific party political agenda, for example a reform that the Labour or Conservative Party is keen to incorporate into their specific manifesto, then a perfect storm is created. A seemingly ideal impact moment will occur, as both academic evidence and political will should be in harmony. However, should the academic take advantage of that moment in specific ways, there is the risk that their work will become so strongly associated with a partisan agenda that both A, its scientific validity will be depleted, and B, its potential for impact if that specific party fails to implement its agenda will become tenuous. Ultimately, I navigate this by attempting to engage with policymaking in as open, transparent and apolitical a manner as possible. For example, in the UK, I try to build relationships and provide advice and guidance to Conservative and Labour peers and MPs alike, and just as importantly, to the civil servants, aides, lawyers and other actors who support the work of these individuals. In particular, civil servants and other government employees often form key contacts, as the nature of their work often forces them to be deliberately non-partisan themselves, following the direction of whichever ministers or politicians are in power. Another good avenue for avoiding the appearance of partisan bias has proved to be brokering relationships with special interest groups, such as APPGs, which tend to be crossbench in nature, or by attaching myself in an advisory capacity to a specific department or arm's-length body.
I think the strength of academic research is its neutrality. It should stand alone and not need to be aligned to any external processes or agendas in order to gain traction. However, we live in the real world, and there are opportunities that arise that allow certain research findings to be aligned to other organisations' agendas in order to give those research findings exposure. There's always a risk attached, and there need to be checks and balances in place to ensure that any alignment is not a reputational risk to the researchers or the university. It's important to look at alignment, shared values and motives when working within political processes. Professional services colleagues can spend time researching organisations and look at their output on social media, who's following them and who's challenging them publicly about what. They can also spot opportunities. However, in my experience, project leaders will know who they're happy to align their work with, and they can support early career researchers in developing that knowledge as well.
In the Benefit Changes and Larger Families project, we faced potential challenges here because a key focus of the project was the efficacy and impact of a set of changes to the social security system that the UK government had introduced. We navigated this challenge in large part by ensuring the research was robust and generated important new evidence able to speak with authority to a wide range of viewpoints. We shared our findings widely, reaching out to stakeholders from all political parties, recognising that advocates for change come in many different guises and that our findings raised questions about the benefit system, not just for the current UK government, but for all political parties. Having an experienced project advisory group that included not only academics but also civil servants, people working in think tanks and campaigning groups, and perhaps most importantly, people with lived experience of living on a low income, played an important role in helping to navigate these challenges. Our funder, the Nuffield Foundation, also provided valuable support throughout the project.